In today's Wake Up Epic, I'm excited to say we're exploring imagination. So if you are an artist in any way, and guess what? You are, this is going to be relevant because how much pain are we carrying about our relationship to art and the way that we create? And that's what we're exploring today to help ourselves, to help each other own our gifts with imagination. Here we go. I'm Alex Iglesia, and I'm the creator of Wake Up Epic. And the purpose of this is we're going to go through the embodied story of the 64th hexagram, which is the shadow of confusion. Where are we confused? What is confusion? How are we creating that in our lives, perhaps unconsciously? The gift of imagination. What is the pattern of that? How can we be more aligned with that and let that flow more in our lives? And then the city of illumination. So we're drawing on gene keys to take those themes and human design, and with the embodiment, UZAZU as an embodiment method. Here we go. So the first part is we start forward, down, and wide. So the top of the hexagram is called field. Yang, forward in the world. Yin, down and sensing, listening, noticing. And then wide, being able to take it in. Now this is called field, and it's literally the experience of being out here and exploring. So give it a try a couple times. Come forward in the world, yet you notice each other. Hi. Or maybe the space behind your screen and your monitor. Then you drop down and feel. Let your body relax and surrender. A little less, I got to get it done, and a little more, what is this? And then where we might, let's say if we were kids looking at little bugs or little plants in the forest, we might get really specifically concentrated in our attention. We're going to go wider and allow our attention to spread out. And field ideally is a place of ease, comfort, exploration, gentle adventure. And by this being at the top of the hexagram, we might say that it's like we're saying the experience of imagination, it begins with in a world where we're meeting in the field. In a world that has a sense of exploration, play, and ease. And by world, I also mean a mindset, a worldview. There is a way in which that can be our choice to choose that perspective. So this is our context. This is the beginning. Then we drop down to the bottom of the hexagram, the sense of self-choice. So we come back, yin into self, let the world go. We come yang, up and active, this time being an active agent, a little bit less sensing. And we come narrow, shifting from a wide open perspective into a sense of concentration. This is called pillar. And the idea here is I'm holding, I am, I will it, I can. So think of those moments where you're thinking, what are we going to have for dinner? And you look around the fridge, you look around the kitchen and the fridge, you get a sense, you go, okay, I need these other 3 ingredients. I'm going to go to the store, right? There's an impulse, there's a knowing, there's a, I'm going to do this. And then you just go do it. And you don't have to think too much about it. So pillar is something like that. From pillar, we shift back into the field. So this is the embodied story. In a world where we're in the field together, we as individuals choose to say, yes, I can do this. I can do my part. I have this creative impulse. I have this intuition. I have this knowing. And then we bring that back into the field. So imagine, as an artist, you sit down with your paper, with a canvas, with something you're going to make. A garage to fix something. I grew up fixing surfboards. So we come into our workspace. We go, this is what I'm going to do right now. We have a certain knowing. We make that decision. We do the action and it changes the set of possibilities. So then what is confusion? Confusion would be something like, I can't be in this field with you. And if I can't be in this field with you, or I kind of have to, or it's not safe to be here with you, I can't listen, I can't relax and trust with you. And then how is that going to impact my ability to trust myself with an action, with a sense of commitment? I can't feel committed, I can't feel all in. And if I can't feel all in, if you can't feel all in with an idea or a choice for 5 minutes or 5 years, then what's the impact of that back on how you relate to people and how you be with others? The others may perhaps being people, the others perhaps being your art supplies, your colleagues. Oh, a few more times back and forth. We're going to go deeper into these. Make sure you feel comfortable enough with field and pillar. And I'll do it from the side. And then let go of that. So we have field and pillar, and the combination of them sort of spitting out like a supernova, imagination, endlessly generating more potential for imagination. So as we now do 5 rounds of movement, 4 rounds of movement plus 1 static completion, the opportunity is going to be to drop in words, beliefs, affirmations in a sense that go with the field and the pillar. So we have 4 sentences that go with aligning the value and significance of your personal mission. So our personal mission that we can feel, the thing that we want to do, and aligning that with the system, with the environment, with the people. And if we can't have that, then how can we put our work in the world? If we can't have some sort of fit between here's what I think I need to do, and it's on some level okay to do that, then the whole thing is just going to stop and we're going to be in confusion. And instead, we want to let that flow happen, open ourselves to imagination, and experience perhaps what is it to illuminate ourselves and others. So here we go. We'll do 5 rounds of about a little over the minute each. Now, I remind you to know that you cannot do this wrong. It's purely a game of discovery. And I invite you to welcome all your feelings, negative or positive, so we can expand our sense of capacity and resilience through this practice. So start with field, move to pillar, and start to do a flow between the two. First statement, I can be bold and courageous in taking a stand for things that matter to me. I can be bold and courageous in taking a stand for things that matter to me. In field, let yourself drop down and surrender. In pillar, let yourself be strong and firm. The next activation, I can dare to take on big challenges, even when the outcome is uncertain. So I can dare to take on big challenges, even when the outcome is uncertain. What big challenges have you avoided? What big challenges do you imagine? The third activation, I can embrace my epic journey, even if I don't know where it'll take me. I can embrace my own epic journey, even if I don't know where it'll take me. Our fourth activation, I can allow myself to go my own way, even if it's unpopular or popular. I can allow myself to go my own way, whether it's unpopular or very popular. For the final round, we're going to hold both sides of the hexagram at the same time. So one arm in pillar, one arm, one leg in field. Find a way that feels like you're doing both at the same time. And once you've got a little bit of both, consider, what does your big imagination want? What does the gift of imagination want to illuminate in the world through you? Let yourself go to that imagination and see yourself in it, in the field of it, and the strength of it. Let go of all expectations to let your true imagination illuminate your experience now. The next few breaths, find a completion, and then step out of the pattern and let your body go. Take a brief look around the space. Find something, what is something you notice where your attention goes that represents imagination to you? Imagination that illuminates, that expands, something that is a contribution of imagination. Once it's got your attention, take a moment to be with that object or that arrangement and get very clear. What is it about that that expresses imagination to you? Tell yourself a story or get a sense of that thing's story of how confusion was overcome, how imagination was cultivated and nurtured, and how what you're looking at is illuminating you right now. What it's making possible. Good. Release that, let go of that. Let's come back together. Now, if you're doing this on your own later at any time, this is the time where we want to journal or take a few minutes to speak, looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself a story is great. We want to distill from a sense of owning this, claiming this, naming this, what you're taking away from your experience. And we'll do that now. So, Alexandra or Marion, something you'd like to share?
I want to take a minute to write.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
Well, one thing that almost immediately came up for me at the very first one, when we were exploring confusion, is how, I guess by its very nature, there are these two almost mirror opposites, and how confusion can reside each step along the way, and there are many possible places. And one of the very easy places for confusion to reside is in distraction, because field is very much prone to distraction, of getting pulled into so many different of everything, different problems, different excitements, different interests, different projects, and that the confusion very much can come from embarrassment of riches. There are too many possibilities. And then that transition from that field of infinite possibilities to picking just one and feeling strong enough about one of them in order to pull it through from that imaginary realm into one where some kind of a creative act makes sense. And then, of course, having enough spine, enough commitment to follow through on that. And then the last step of this journey, to have enough willingness to put that out into the world, or not just willingness, but capacity. So each one of those steps could have confusion galore. And I guess on the positive loop, it'll probably work just like there are 4 different phases on the positive loop as well. But I guess that was a little bit less apparent to me because the confusion was running wild.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I want to point out for everyone watching this video later, and also just for us, to use my imagination to yes and what you're saying, Alexandra. So two things that come up for me about that, like when we come in to feel, we've got 3 dimensions that we're working with. How forward or back are we? How down or up are we? And how narrow or wide are we? So that's quite a few ways that we could either not be going into that field, or like having some resistance, like I don't feel safe to come in with you, or I don't feel safe to relax enough over here with my art supplies, or I'm really narrow-minded, and so I'm only doing the same poetry every single time, and I'm never trying out a different style. So many ways we can do field badly, and it can be overwhelming and confusing. But the thing that stands out for me, I think where I personally can get very, very stuck and distracted, is never coming back to that pillar. This is one of the reasons I think this embodiment and the way we do these wake up hexagrams is so important. It's like I have so many ideas of what it means to be imaginative, but how much of that is me actually producing art? So how much of it is distraction and rabbit holes and chasing and learning, but never coming back to be like, what's my part to play, to actually do, versus just mind, more distraction. And just so the idea that these two things come together to create imagination. And what habit can I cultivate to allow myself to get lost in the field, but not so lost that I don't have access to, let me stop and take some notes, or let me write a tweet, or let me work on a book for 3 months. And that for me has been like I can feel in the pattern that the pillarness of imagination, let alone being willing that this that I'm going to do, I'm going to allow it to illuminate others. So so I'll wonder, everyone who's doing this, where do you feel off in the pattern? And as a reminder, if you take the movement as a pattern and practice it for a few days with your questions about creativity and imagination, with your longer standing patterns of feeling confused instead of in action, you'll have a lot of breakthroughs. So we're going to wrap up. Marian, is there anything you'd like to say before we close our official recording?
I really appreciated that moment. I can't remember what you said exactly, when we were given the opportunity to step away from the old story. And that I had that sense of being able to step away from the narrative of confusion into a narrative that's unknown to me with these energies. So it felt like that's doable.
Yeah. If I can highlight that with the movement, because that's standing out is really important to me personally. So getting out of the narrative is very much in the narrowness. So how many times have I, as anyone, tried to solve confusion by having a better narrative or a better story or a better explanation? Like, for sure. And what this is implying is the way out of the confusion is actually coming more to make it more safe and good to be just in it. Almost like I'm imagining like just letting all the narratives go. Just like if we were to people watch, we let everybody go. And on a good day, we're not like personally attacked or attached to people we're people watching, or nature, or anything. We know that. I think we know that in nature. We can go on a walk in nature and we don't weirdly feel attached or personally attacked by certain things we see on a trail. Well, that's the experience of just being in it, to some degree anyway. So thanks for that narrative, because that clears up a piece for me about confusion. And so just to make that practical, like as a takeaway for everyone. So when wherever you're confused, how can we be in the situation? Breathing would be a great focus point. And then see, well, what wants to happen? What do I want to do, or what needs to get done? So there's a sense of like, time to eat. oh, time to pee. Like there's just a, I know. And then exploring like, well, what's in the way of letting yourself do that? And of course, going to the restroom or going to the grocery store is relatively simple. Spending the next 5 years drawing out your memoir, different. So thank you, everybody. This was very, very rich for me, which is why I do this, and I hope it was illuminating and rich for you. So you know, Wake Up Epic is hugely a contribution, and the vision of being epic as an imagination was and where I got unconfused once was recognizing that being epic and waking up epic is, well, what happens after we see our hero's journey? What happens? What happens at when the credits roll in a story and the hero and the heroine has gained some sense of self-discovery and wisdom? Then what happens? Well, in the story, we know that they've brought their gift back to the community and they're living their life as who they really are. So these experiences, whether you're live or not live, or however much you feel like you're contributing, I want you to know that you're already epic. You're always a contribution. You bring so many gifts. And if you can be aware of that, then holy cow, I hope you have a really great day with it. So thanks for being epic and being part of this.